Hey everybody, welcome to Muscular Development's preview of the Mr. Big Evolution Portugal Pro Show. Joining me, the man who has actually been to that show, knows all about it, all the way over in the United Kingdom. Please welcome Giles Tiger Thomas. What's up, Giles?
How do you, Ron?
Doing well, sir. Doing well.
Hang on. I've not been to the Portugal Pro, but I've been to Portugal. If you remember, in 2020, I took Brandon Curry there as part of his three-country. We did UK, Portugal, Spain. Yeah, Portugal's first, then we did Spain. But so I'm familiar with João Henrique, the promoter, and he's also took me to the venue where this was where they filmed Casino Royale, the famous casino scene in the James Bond film, with the revolving stage.
The one from the early 1960s or the more recent Casino Royale?
The new one, yeah, with
Daniel Craig,
Mads Mikkelsen.
Oh, no,
yeah.
Daniel Craig, isn't that James Bond?
No, Mads Mikkelsen was the baddie.
Oh, okay. That's the guy with the bleed. Didn't he have like a bleeding eye or something?
Yeah, but yeah. So we went outside, and because he drove us, Brandon, and everything, and he took us to the venue, and we were doing selfies outside with the fountains, and it's a beautiful looking place. But yeah, so I got a good feel for Portugal and kind of how things are going over there, and also the Mr. Big gym as well, the big man gym. That's a really nice place as well. So yeah, so it's I think it's, to be honest, mate, all Brits are, and there's no Brits in the open men's in this show, but I tell you what, I think this is probably one of the most exciting shows I think it's been in Europe for a while for me personally, because this really feels like who is the best in Europe for this event.
Yeah, I mean, look at the names. We're going to get right into it. My favorite, your favorite, everyone's favorite. No, we'll see what happens. But on paper right now, Andrea Presti from Italy is on a roll this season. Second place in Orlando recently, second place in New York to Blessing a couple months back. He's done, is this the fifth or sixth show he's done in the spring already? And he's been so consistently in shape at every one. Him and Mauro Sassi, they're really putting it together this spring.
I mean, because thing is, Andrea Presti, he's actually the defending champion for this show because he won it last year.
That's right.
Last year, I think Tim Buddersheim was second, Vlad was second, and Theo was in there. I think Theo was fourth or fifth as well. Yeah. But it was a solid lineup last year. But thing is with Andrea, obviously he was winning pro shows last year. I mean, that was his first pro win. But I can't get over how much he's improved since then, since the Olympia, because like, I mean, no one saw him taking second at the New York Pro before the show.
Nope. And
then in Orlando, because like I said, I didn't realize he was still going to carry on competing because I thought, maybe shut it down after the New York Pro. But thing is, obviously, he didn't have the win, so he needed those extra points. But I thought he looked even better. From what I've seen, I think he looked even better in Orlando than he did at the New York Pro. Like the renal bicep, the glutes, the hamstrings. I mean, he took it up another notch. And to be honest, I know it was straight first for Hassan, but I tell you what, I'd have no arguments if he'd have beat Hassan last weekend.
Yeah, I mean, structurally, he's got a better structure. He's so wide with the shoulders. He's got the narrow waist, little more quad sweep. I think he'd be even, much deadlier. But what a beautiful physique and size, shape, good structure. Yeah, this is a guy that I'm so glad he's hitting all these shows. I'm a little surprised Theo's not in this show. That would have really rounded up. Then we really would have had, this would be like the Mr. Pro Europe, basically. But yeah, Andrea kicking ass and taking names. Next up on the list, because I'm going alphabetically, Morgan Ast from France, the biggest pro bodybuilder in terms of weight for sure. This guy's what, like 315 pounds on stage or something?
I think, yeah, he ranges between 315 and 320. Because thing is, like, to think that, like, you remember the Arnold Classic in 2020? Mm-hmm. Because he won the amateur Arnold Classic. He was prepped by Chris Aceto at the time. He won it. He won the amateur in 2019, qualified, obviously, because the winner of that gets to do the pro the following year. Yeah. And to think that the biggest and hardest guy on the stage came last place. Yeah. I mean, but do you know what? For me, it was still a good show for him to do and a good showing, yeah. Because, I mean, he brought by far the best condition in the whole show, And to be honest, have you ever seen him out of condition? I mean, did the New York Pro last year? He did Indy. Was he sixth and sixth?
Yeah, I mean, I was so impressed because, structurally, he doesn't have the prettiest frame. He doesn't have that ideal X frame, but, he knows he knows that. I'm sure he's well aware of that. So he's got all the size in the world, and he gets conditioned, grainy, dry, crispy condition, because that's what he can control, and he does it, and he's consistent. I've never seen him maybe 2% less than that. I mean, it's always just, he's usually the hardest guy up on stage, which, that's not an easy thing to say in a lineup. And what's he, about 6'6"? Good Lord.
No, I think he's 6'3". He's taller. Well, obviously I'm 6. I was actually measured in the hospital at 6'1", so I was really happy about that. Oh, so yeah,
you're getting taller.
Yeah, stretching me out, making me. That's why I'm not actually skinny. They've just stretched me out. But yeah, he's 6. He's down because I wrote the article in MD a few issues ago on him, and he's 6'3". But you know what? It's like I was doing the live stream with Lauren last year at the Romania Muscle Fest, and he got like 4th call out, and he didn't get placed. He wasn't even top 15, and I felt so bad because I thought, here's a guy that has got, he's got a ton of muscle, and whether you like the structure and stuff like that, there's obviously so much you can do about that. The guy, it's like Hassan. He's not got like he said, next to Andrea Presti, he hasn't got the classic V, and when he opens up and things don't kind of just go in a V shape, but with Morgan, I feel bad for those guys that really bring the really good conditioning and they're not rewarded for it. I thought 16th, joined 16th last year at Romania. I thought it was, I was shocked, and you could see even he was shocked on stage. It was confusing, and I thought, oh God, he at least deserves to be 2nd, or at very worst 3rd call out, but at least kind of in the 6th to 10th range, because there was guys in that show that had great structure but were nowhere near in condition, and I just felt bad. So I really hope that Morgan gets rewarded for this, because he keeps coming back and he keeps competing, and like I said, he keeps nailing that condition, and I have so much respect for the guys that just keep coming back and just and nailing that condition. Funny, I've got a funny memory of Morgan when we were at the I think I was waiting for you down in the lobby at the Arnold at the Hilton.
Yeah. And
he turned up, and I think he was getting some breakfast, and he had this like kind of tracksuit top on, and all I could see like across the room was his traps flickering. Yeah. I could see the striations flickering through his jacket. But I was crazy. I just thought, because I was really excited to see him, because I was just like, there's new faces like that, especially in a show as big as the Arnold Classic. So I really hope he gets a good look in. Because I wasn't happy with what happened to Romania last year. I thought it was unfair. Yeah. And but yeah, I hope he's in that, at least in that 1st call out, and gets a proper, because that readable bicep, that can hang with Presti, Vlad, any of these guys. So I'm like I said, I really hope he gets a good look in this weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Big fan of The Rock. He's called The Rock, isn't he?
Yeah.
Not like Dwayne Johnson, but the bodybuilding Rock.
Yeah, he tried to get me. He wanted me to set up a photo shoot or something like that with him and The Rock, and I was like, well, that might be a tall order, but I certainly wrote about it, and I certainly tried to put it out there. So I have tried.
Okay, fair enough. Now, we mentioned Germany's Tim Budesheim. I have seen him a couple of times. Very, very consistent. That's another guy that always shows up in shape. I've only seen him, I want to say like maybe 2, 3, 4 times at the most, but always in the mix, always he's one of those guys, he's not enormous. He's not like 270, 80 pounds, but proportioned, conditioned, very balanced physique. This is a guy that always manages he gets up there in the top spots all the time, because he's so consistent in his total package. Like I always say, it's not a size show. It's not a condition show. It's total package. And this guy he's someone you can tell pays a lot of attention to detail.
Well, the first time I ever saw Tim was I was covering the first ever Arnold Europe, which was the first Arnold Classic outside of America. That was in 2011. That's when I was covering it with Flex Wheeler for MD. And I kind of wasn't supposed to be covering the amateur, but I kind of dipped in a couple of times because I was supposed to be doing interviews in the expo. I did like Ronnie and Rowley and Hidetada and Rich Kaspari, and I thought, well, I'll nip in, I'll have a look. And the juniors came out. And it was an absolute whitewash with what, you had all these guys that looked like juniors. And I was just like, who the hell is that guy? He was just double the size of everybody else. So he obviously caught my attention then. He's been very consistent right through being an amateur. And then in 2017, obviously the famous San Marino show that MD sent me to. Yeah. And he won him and, I can't remember his name now. oh God, what's his name? Anyway, so he won the heavyweights.
Okay.
Believe he won the overall. Then of course he got to compete with the pros the next day. But that was the one obviously with Cedric McMillan won. Hadi Chupin was second. Brandon Curry was third. And this was a lineup. I think there was over 30. I think there was 28 or 30 guys in it.
Wow.
And Tim, obviously fresh off getting his pro card the day before at the Amateur Olympia in San Marino, he took fourth. And Dennis James said to him after the prejudge, and he says, "I have you third," meaning that he had him ahead of Brandon Curry.
Wow.
So, and you know what? He's never had that level of conditioning since, but even close to it is still good enough conditioning. But because that year he had these crazy lat striations and dryness in his back that I'd love to see that back again, because he's, like I said, he's very, very consistent. He's been top 6 at the New York Pro. You know, and he had some good places last year, had some seconds and thirds. You know, he was kind of up there, and then he did the Arnold UK, and he dropped to like 6th or 7th or 8th, and it looked like he was trying to come in too heavy. You know, it's like he was trying to come in too big, and I just thought, no, you're playing. I thought straight away, he's playing the bodyweight game, so maybe he is trying to just come in bigger and maybe carving up too much because he maybe feels a little bit smaller next to the 280 pounders. You know, but I just hope he gets that conditioning back, because he's got that kind of really nice detailed, you know, it's not full of site injections or, you know, no, I like to see the striations. And the thing is, when physiques like that are on, you know, he's very kind of like that kind of Dorian Granite type conditioning. So I really hope to see that back, because I really rate him, and I hope he's not starting to drop off, because here's a guy that is, I mean, he could win this. I mean, he's that good. You know, and this is a tough competition. So it'd be interesting to see what he's done since last year, because like I said, he did a few shows. I think got second here last year at the Portugal, and then he started to drop off. So I really, really hope that he's back to his best. And I'd love to see him in that 2017 San Marino condition with the size he has now, because I tell you what, he's so impressive.
Cool. Well, Tim, if you're listening, get a little more ripped. We'd love to see it. Speaking of another guy who could win, is the Croatian Colossus. We'll see if that nickname sticks. Peter Clanchier, Pitar with an A. Man, this guy, you know, you called it. What was the first show he was supposed to do? He tried to get to Indy, he tried to get to New York, couldn't get to them. Where did he end up getting to? The Cali, right? Was that the first show he did? Yeah, I mean, I wish he had been at the other 2 shows too, because then I could have seen him in person, because so impressive. You know, you called. I really had no idea who he was, and you sent me a couple pictures. I'm like, oh my God. This guy's amazing. He's huge, good shape, great condition. And he's working also with Mauro Sassi, Team Stone. And I've been following him on Instagram and everything. He looks like he's even sharper now than he was at the Cali, which was, about 5-6 weeks ago at this point. So man, this is another guy. He's got everything it takes to possibly win the show.
To be honest, like I said, I think he's the wild card for this one, because I mean, he hadn't competed in, I mean, to the best, I mean, the last time I saw him on stage was at the Arnold Europe in 2017. That's the one that Rami won, Bonac was second, Roden was third, Nathan was fourth, Max Charles was sixth, and then anyway, don't matter.
You're amazing.
Rolly. So I've got confused. Anyway, so he was like, so basically he hadn't competed for at least 4 or 5 years. Now, if you've been out 4 or 5 years, I think if your first show coming back, I think, to me, it's just, it's not even a physical thing. It's almost like a mental thing as well, because maybe they're nervous to carb up. Maybe they are just nervous, which affects their fullness, and they're drying out the night before. Maybe they're not sleeping well. So I feel like this other show was just a warm up, and I think we're going to see the best version of Pitar. I think we're going to see it this weekend, because I think with Pitar, like his. Potentially, I mean, he's like a top 6 Olympia guy, and I just hope. I thought he looked tremendous at the Cali, and I felt like 5th was a bit harsh, because I looked at all the pictures and I thought, oh, he got 5th. He must have come in a bit off. And I was looking at the pictures and I was thinking, did he get robbed here? I mean, was he deserving of a couple of places higher here? I mean, what do you think? I
would have had him higher. I mean, I remember once I saw the results, I thought the same thing as you, and then once I looked at the pictures, I'm like, no, he was. You know, I hate doing that, because it disparages whoever he beat. They're going to say, hey, so he deserved to beat me. But we're just being, we're just being objective. It's not personal, guys. So yeah, I think he could have been as high as third for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And
but
yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I mean. Like I said, this top five is one of those ones I'm really excited about, because this is one of those shows where, I mean, on paper, really, you got Andrea Presti, who's coming off his second place last week in Orlando, second place in New York. He looked better from New York to Orlando, so maybe he's going to do that again, or maybe he's going to look as good as Orlando, which will be good enough to kind of get that second win. But otherwise, I mean, that's not a guarantee either. This is not like a given that he's going to come in and win this. So someone like a Peter, or a Vlad or a Tim, these guys, this is going to be a real fight, this one. I think this is going to be a real, there's going to be guys getting fifth that other people might have second, So, and I think those in many ways are the most exciting shows, especially when you've got guys from all these different countries and they're all kind of similar. I mean, you look at their like ratings and their rankings of where they've placed, they're all at kind of a similar level here. So it'd be interesting to see who's really done their homework, who's really coming in on the condition, and also who's improved over last year.
Yeah. And you know what? Every time there's a show like that where the top five are very, very close, there's a lot of butthurt people after the show, because no matter where you place these guys, you could have placed them differently and you probably wouldn't have been wrong. So the fans of a guy that placed a little lower are going to be irate and outraged. But that's it. That's what bodybuilding is. So we just mentioned Vlad. That's another guy. That's another dark horse from the Ukraine, now living in Kuwait, part of the Camel Crew. Vlad, what do you call him? Vlad the Impaler in the article you wrote?
Yeah, that's my, and do you know what? Sometimes I give these nicknames, like you said about the Croatian Colossus, you give these nicknames and you keep throwing it out there, writing it, saying it, and sometimes they just don't stick and no one uses them.
I know.
But the Vlad the Impaler, he uses that. If you actually look on his bio on his Instagram, he's actually used it. So I'm very happy about this.
Good job, man. Good job. Yeah, Lonnie Teeper used to be the king of nicknames. He used to give out all the nicknames to people, but someone's got to pick up the slack these days. So Vlad Sukhorochko, I believe he's only 25 years old. You posted on the MD Global Instagram the other day that leg shot of his. It's some of the craziest leg vascularity I've ever seen on a human being ever. He's just a straight up freak. It's not a pretty physique, but he doesn't have like a bubble gut. He's just a monstrous mass of so much dense, thick muscle and vascularity. It's if you're a hardcore bodybuilding fan and you love the mass monsters and the freaks, Vlad Sukhorochko, this is your man for sure.
I mean, Vlad's, I've been hyping this guy for a couple of years, and I really, really like him. I've got a good bond with him, and I've had him on Global many, many times. And I mean, I even, because sometimes, you reach out to these guys when they've won shows, but also when something bad happens, like, they get an injury or some sort of setback. And after because he managed to get enough points to qualify for the Olympia last year. And then it was like 2 weeks out, he realized that the Ukrainian government wasn't going to be able to sort his visa out. They says, "Oh, we reckon we can sort it by May next year." And he said, well, the Mr. Olympia in Las Vegas is in like 12 days or 2 weeks or something. So he was, when I had him on, he was absolutely distraught. But at the same time, he was also still quite, it's like he dealt with it a couple of days before. He's like, no, look, I'm going to go back to Kuwait. I'm going to go and train and improve and come back next year. Because he really fought for those points last year as well. I mean, I was there in, obviously doing the live stream for the Spain show in August last year. Yeah. And he got fourth there, and he was absolutely devastated with that, because he was really wanting to, he really wanted to win, and he wanted to, get through on a win and, get enough points. Didn't mean have to compete again and again and again. So, Vlad, for me, I keep hyping him as like the European Nick Walker.
Yeah.
Because he's 25, he's a year in it. Thing is with Vlad, I think I'm most excited to see Vlad because I know he's going to be improved. I know he's at that point where the way I follow him all year round. I follow his social media, and the kid's a machine. He's a maniac. Do you know what I mean? And he's so focused, and he's and thing is, he's like it's kind of like Charles. Reminds me of Charles in the way. So Charles Griffin, where these guys have got a lot of round, thick muscle. But they like Valier, they also bring the condition as well. And like with those guys, you can always bet on them because if they're improved, they're going to bring condition. They know you're going to be. He's probably going to be 120 plus kilos. He's going to be. He's going to be up there. obviously I would kind of love to see him get a win here because I'm a big fan of his and I've been hyping this guy for a couple of years and he's a good kid as well. But, you know, I mean, 25, and also because, you know, we're all kind of rooting for him. We should be, because like I said, he didn't get to the Olympia last year after doing all those shows. And then right at the last minute, he had the rug pulled from under him. So I'm really hoping that, he really sort of gets a good look in here. And I'd love to see him get the win, but then I want Peter and Tim and everybody else to win as well.
I know. That's I mean, that's the thing is when you know these guys like we do, it's you're rooting for several of them to win, and you'd be happy for any of them to win. And but unfortunately, that means the other ones we're rooting for, they're going to have to lose. But that's just the way it is. You can't have more than one winner. 212 division. The name that jumped right out at me was Germany's Steve Benton. I've seen Steve probably 8 or 10 times now, and always up in the first call out, always in the top 5, typically anyway. Just a very solid, consistent competitor. Always brings condition. Certain bodies got those delts, the quads. Just a very impressive, very complete physique.
Yeah, Steve, no, I really rate. He got 3rd last week in Spain.
Ah, okay.
He was 3rd last weekend in Spain, and the thing is, from the front and the side, I mean, he's so. I mean, I like the guys with detail. Like this, I like to see striations, and I don't like to see bloofy. You know, I like to see I don't just like to see the 3 heads, but I like to see striations in the shoulders. And the thing about his physique, he's balanced, and he's very, very striated and detailed. But for me, he's kind of he needs to sharpen up from the back. I think that's his Achilles heel at the moment. I think if he was as good from the back, detail wise, not size wise, from the back as he is from the front, and consistently with it, I mean, he'd be winning shows like this because he's never. I mean, he competes a lot, but he's very, very rarely out of the top 5. I mean, he's done New York Pros, he's competed in America and all of the different shows. You know, and I like the guys that aren't afraid to just go out of their comfort zone and out of their area and compete and do all these shows. So, I mean, hoping if he can get a bit tighter from last week from the back, he'll certainly be one of the favorites for this. But I mean, I remember when he got 2nd at the Czech show, the EVL show. Yeah. You know, and that really kind of put him on the map. And it was like, oh shit, who's this guy? You know, he's good. I think Ricardo won that one, Ricardo Correa. I'm sure. Oh, yeah.
Rude boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, neither of the 2 guys who beat him in Spain are here at this show, are they?
Yeah, Daniel Stico is, yeah.
So let's talk about him, Daniel Stico, because I'm totally unfamiliar with him, but he must be pretty good.
He's absolutely fantastic. I mean, I saw him because Mauro Sassi preps him as well.
Well, there you go.
now this guy, I mean, I saw Mauro was posting pictures, like progress pictures in kind of the middle of towards the late end of last year. And he kind of caught my eye because he looked he's quite short, but he's very complete and he's very thick, but he's also got really nice lines Mauro sent me a message today, a voice note, and he said he sees him as like a sort of Italian or a white version of Sean Clarida. He's very complete, but he's actually got quite nice lines. You know, when he lifts his arms up, things open up. They don't just go straight up and down. And so I kind of had my eye on this guy, and it was in Romania, and I forget the placing, but even though he wasn't in top 3, he was the one that actually stuck in my mind as a guy to, like, when this guy sharpens up, because that's all he needed to do, because he's very, very complete, and he's got nice muscle shape and at the time, but very, very nice flow, balance and everything. And I just thought, this guy's got something. He's one of those guys that in the early 90s, he'd have been a good open pro, you know, he's one of those guys that would have got a good looking because he's very, very complete, you know, because there was guys in the 90s that, you know, that did get good lookings, even though they were short guys, because obviously it's before the 212. But yeah, with Stico, I mean, he was 2nd last week, and I've only seen some of the pictures, but to me, he looked like clear winner. I mean, he's really, really good. I mean, his arms are fun. He's probably got some of the best arms in the pro ranks right now.
Wow.
And his frontal bicep, you know, it's a shape that it's very distinct shape. So I'd probably have him as the favorite to win that this weekend.
Okay, fair enough. So another gentleman you are familiar with, and I was not in the 212, is Italy's Pascal DAngelo.
Yeah, he took 4th place in Spain last week, and I don't know what's going on with Pasquale, because for me, like he did the Spain show last August, And if you actually watch the live stream, I had him winning it. I thought he was really, really good, but I think it was something like 4th or 5th. But he's very big, very, very, like, he's got every single body part. But for some reason, he's just not nailing the condition. In fact, I think he's going backwards with his conditioning. Because I was obviously the Island show, which I was there for some of it.
Yeah.
But when I went to because Tarek Windy brought me into the pro competitor meeting, because there's only like 4 or 5 guys in the 212. So he brought me in and he said, look, this is Giles from MD. He's going to be the MC. He'll be doing an interview if you win and all that. Yeah. And I saw Pasquale and I was like, shit, I really rate this guy, But I think he was 3rd there. He was 3rd there, and he was 4th place last week. But I mean, it frustrates me when these guys have got everything there, but they're not bringing the conditioning. So I don't know what he can do in 1 week. But I mean, if he was in condition, I mean, I think it'd be a very tight battle between him, Daniel Stico, and Steve Benton for the win. So I'm really, really hoping that he can, because I looked at some pictures and his quads were really soft. And I was like, I don't know what went wrong, because I mean, the thing is, he had from Ireland to Spain to fix it. Right. And if anything, he's got worse, his conditioning. So I really, really hope he's brought the conditioning. And because I don't like seeing these guys with great physiques consistently bring subpar conditioning and they don't get placed where they know, where they should be placing, because guys like him should be winning shows like this quite handily. So I don't know whether he needs to get with a Mauro or a Patrick Tour or a Chris Aceto or something, but I really, really hope he's in condition this weekend, because if he is, he's going to be in contention for the win.
All right, I'm going to check this guy out. Classic Physique was a big lineup, and the name that jumped right out at me was Fabian Mayer, because I've seen Fabian a couple times now. Big fan of his. You said he came from Open when he was in a different organization for a little bit, and he came down to was he Open before, and he came down to Classic for IPB Pro League?
I don't know. Do you know? I can't remember. Something's flagging up in my head, but I can't remember because. Yeah.
Somebody in the comments will tell us. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You idiots! Don't you know everything about Fabian Mayer? Sorry, we don't always know everything, but I really like this guy's physique. Certain shots, he does that thing like this. Wow, I mean, it reminds me of like the old school Arnold pictures, Serge Nubret. It's a beautiful, tiny little waist. I think what I recall was he just needed a little bit more legs because his upper body was so full and round. But man, I was very impressed with Fabian. I think at the Arnold, he was just at the Arnold a few months back, wasn't he? Yeah. That wasn't a few months ago. That was last October, Ron. Oh no, wait a minute. We had one in March too.
The second Arnold, the second one a couple of months later.
Oh, it's getting confusing. Yeah, but whenever I saw him, I thought he was fantastic.
Well, the first time I saw Fabian was at the Spain show last August, and he beat Ramondino.
Wow. Okay.
So that wasn't even a year ago. That was 11 months ago. So that was last August. He was first. Ramondino was second. Madelman was third. Is that right? Yeah, he was third. Because I was doing the live stream with John Citrone, because I brought him in on the Classic.
Oh,
I thought you'd have a good eye for the Classic because he lives there in Spain. So I mean, it was a really stacked lineup. So he won there, and let's not forget he was 6th at the Olympia last year.
Yeah, I believe 6. I think he was. Yeah. He was right up there.
You had Urs in 4th. You had Ramondino 5th, and Fabian was 6th. Now, the thing is, I feel like because there's been so much hype around guys like Urs and Ramondino, it's almost like people have kind of overshadowed what Fabian's actually achieved here. Because Fabian, I've got 4th at the Arnold.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think he was top 5. Yeah,
so he's 4th at the Arnold, 6th at Olympia. He's beating guys like Ramondino, and it's not. And recently, in less than a year ago, he won in Spain last weekend.
Yeah. Oh wow.
So Fabian's on a roll right now, and I think and I hope more people get talking about him. In fact, I tried to get him on Global, and he was just giving me the runaround. I found it quite difficult to get a hold of him. So I'm gonna when I get season 5 going very shortly.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna reach out to him again and just say, look, mate, please, you know, you are at a level now where people want to hear what you've got to say. People need to get to know you, you know, because he's at a level where, like you said, he's probably got a fan base that probably knows very little about him, because even his social media, I still don't know a lot about him. I couldn't tell you any facts about him. And I think somebody at that level, we should know a fair deal. Like, you know, we know everything about Urs, we know everything about Ramondino and Chris Bumstead and Ruffin and all these guys. But he's at that level now. You know, he's top 6 Olympia. So I just hope, you know, with this, I'll be very surprised if he doesn't win this weekend. I'd be ultra shocked. It would take somebody pretty special to beat him. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try again, and I'll definitely get him some publicity. But I see this being a pretty easy win from this weekend. And like I said, even if he can make top 6 Olympia again, I mean, that's quite some achievement.
Yeah, so looking forward to seeing Fabian again. Women's bodybuilding, couple names that I've seen before. Branka, it's Ngegovic from Croatia. I'm gonna say that maybe the N is silent. It's Jegovic. I don't know, but it's Branka. And Yesenia Garcia Speck. Is that right? I can't read my own handwriting. Speck from Spain. So you know, you're familiar with both of them. So you think it's probably going to come down to one of those two for the win?
Yeah, Branka's like proper hardcore. I had her on Global last year, and I said to her, I said, I see you as like a female Dorian Yates, and she nearly cried with joy. Like, she says, "Oh my God, that is such a huge compliment. Thank you so much." Because I remember Branka competing in the under 55 kilo at the Arnold Classic in Ohio back in 2013, and she'd been around because she was winning in NABA, and then she came over competing in bodybuilding. And then in 2016, she tried women's physique. And do you remember there was a show in Italy, and there was a lot of controversy because they were saying she's not women's physique, but the other girls were just, they were just not of even women's physique.
They were more like they were probably more like figure.
Yeah, so it got a lot of shit because they said, look, this woman is so muscular. She's so her conditioning. It's like she's kind of like female, like Branch Warren's little sister. You know what I mean? You know, that real grainy detail, but she brings the condition every single time. As a pure athlete, she's absolutely incredible. So anyway, when she went to the Olympia, she got like last call out, but it looked like she obviously there was no female bodybuilding Olympia. So she kind of just went in because she said, I just want to get to the Olympia, even if I'm in a category that isn't right for my physique. She didn't want to downsize her physique. So anyway, then last year on the live stream, I think it was Spain last August, she did the women's physique. And I said on the live stream, I said, please, now that the Olympia's back in bodybuilding, please go to women's bodybuilding. So anyway, then she came on Global and she announced that then she was going back to bodybuilding, which she then did at Romania, and she took second place. So, you know, she actually said I had a hand in that. So I'm really happy to see that she's back in female bodybuilding, you know. So, but she is, she's awesome. Just it's like, you know, people's jaws were hanging out when she was hanging open when she was on stage, you know, in female bodybuilding. Because, like, you know, there's 90% of male pros that don't achieve that condition even once, and she does it every single time, and she's been doing it for nearly a decade that I know of, you know. So she's impressive.
Now, can you pronounce her last name?
Yeah.
Was that it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. Sorry.
Before I forget, Yesenia. Yeah, she did. I'm sure she did Spain last August when we did the live stream, and she's got a beautiful physique. So it's real apples and oranges, like Dorian Yates type versus Flex Wheeler type, you know, where they're a similar level, but they've got completely different sort of physique. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So
in fitness, it looks like we have a winner already, because I see one name on the list from Scotland, Alex Small.
Yes. 20, I think she's still only 22.
Wow.
So
that's my son's age.
Yeah, so she won, she won in Spain last August at 21 years old. So that then qualified her for the Olympia. She was just out of the top 10 at the Olympia, but imagine being 21 years old and being at the Olympia. That's so impressive.
Yeah.
So, but how does it work now with her qualifying for the Olympia? Because because there was only 2 at the Arnold UK in the fitness last year. And I know that there's a ruling if you need 3 in a pro category to even qualify for the Olympia. So I feel bad for her in a way, you know, because it's almost like a guest spot, you know.
I mean, unless 2 more women sign up between now and then. We're doing this on a Tuesday, so we'll see what happens. Figure, we got Lena Rammsteiner, which you were gonna explain something about her last name. Maybe it's because it's like the German rock metal group. Rammstein. Yeah.
I think she's got to be a heavy metal fan with a name like that. Especially if she goes up to a Rammstein concert and says, "My name is Mrs. Rammsteiner."
I'd let you in for it.
Yeah, so she won in Spain last week, and I mean, beautiful physique, you know, just lovely. But I made a comment on the MD forum today. It's quads; they're too big, man. They're almost bigger than women's physique quads. Well, and this kind of goes back to the thing where this issue I have with the way that figure is going now, and I just think it's getting too muscular. Now, I'm sure she's probably going to win again this week. But it reminds me of Natalia Coelho in 2017 when she won, I think, 4 shows in figure.
Yep.
And she was what age? What, 21?
21. That's a kid, baby.
Yeah. And I remember because she was posing her legs really close together, almost to hide the size of her quads. And I remember saying on the forum, this girl needs to go to women's physique. And then I remember because I got a photo of you with her at the food court in Vegas.
Showing her leg. It was a quad shot.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've still got that on my phone.
I'm sure I did too.
So and then after the show, she did a show in Florida, which was obviously a qualifier for the following year for 2018 Olympia. Yeah. And she did women's physique and she's never looked back since.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's where she needs to go, Lena. Think about it, Lena. Giles is usually right. So yeah. The other name that jumped out was one of the twins from Czech Republic, Gabriela Linhartova. Yeah, so I mean that somebody could give her a fight.
Yeah, well, I think she was 12th last week in Spain.
Oh, then maybe not.
So I don't know. I mean, I've not seen the pictures. I mean, I've not seen any pictures, but I mean, it was a big lineup. I think it was like 15, 20 girls in it. But you know, she was 12th, and I'm just trying to, because obviously she's one of the twins.
Yes.
Twin sisters. I'm just trying to work out which one's better than who.
Well, I mean, yeah, aren't they identical?
Yeah, well, I'm sure. Yeah, they're identical twins, but one is slightly better than the other one. I mean, I found it hard to distinguish at the Romania show. Like I said, I was there last year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what she can do in a week, but I don't know what's happened to her condition-wise, and I wonder how it works with their sisters. Do they choose? Because obviously they were both in Romania last year. Yeah. Do they like choose different shows, or does one go and support the other one? Because I mean, at the Romania show, they even had the same color bikini on.
You need to get them both on MD Global Muscle, you know, in a future episode. I think that'd be hilarious. Hilarious. I'm not making fun of them. I think it'd be so interesting to hear identical twins who are top pros. I don't think that's ever happened before in any division that I can recall. Twins.
No, because we spoke about this before, and I'm trying to think if there has been, like, not to any like high level, maybe in amateurs, maybe it's happened where you've seen like at nationals, you've seen, you know, twins and stuff, but
not like this.
I don't think it's ever happened before. Certainly not in the pros, but it's very interesting because I wrote about, I put it in my MD Global Muscle Buzz column a few months ago, earlier this year, and thing is, they're both really, really good. They're both very, very high standard. I mean, were they 3rd and 4th in Romania last year?
I believe so. I know they were like 3rd. They were right after each other. So
yeah.
Clear the judges. It's funny, if you're a judge, I wonder if they both came in exactly the same condition, you're a judge. What do you do? Because it's the same person. They're not the same person. I know it's not. They're 2 different human beings, but that's tough.
I mean, I watched doing the live stream. I'd love to go watch it back actually, because there's one bit I'm going, hang on, we've just seen this girl. And then I turned my head to the left or the right, and then there her sister was. And then obviously my brain slowly figured out, oh shit, not the same person. They're 2 different people, but they just look exactly the same with the same physique.
Did they have different color suits or no?
One purple and I think it was light purple. It was very confusing though.
They should have gone totally different colors to avoid confusion. Women's physique. Big lineup, but man, I see this name, and she's been 3rd place at the Olympia, Barbara Menage from France. So third place in Olympia, jumping in a show like this. If she's in condition, it's kind of a done deal, unless there's someone on that list we don't know about that's going to blow our minds with how great they are. But Barbara Minaj, very, very good. I've seen her a few times now.
Yeah, because I mean, you've seen her, but I haven't, because you saw her at the 2020 Olympia when she took third. And I mean, she, for a complete newcomer to come in and jump into a top 3 at the Olympia, I mean, that's like, I mean, the only equivalent I can think of is Ramondino getting 5th at the Olympia last year, which top 5 as a complete unknown, you know, is pretty spectacular. But I don't recall seeing her compete last year. So that means she hasn't competed since the Olympia in 2020. I wonder why, and I wonder whether she's better than she was in 2020, because I do follow her on Instagram and I see some stuff. She trains hard, man, really hard.
She didn't do the Olympia last. Has it been that long since I saw her? Was it the 2020?
I don't think she was at the Olympia last year. Nothing's sticking in my mind.
Correct us in the comments, guys. I know you will. So the final thing to talk about is wellness, because man, 19 women. There's been some US wellness shows where a lot of them I've been to was like 4 or 5 women. I was like, really? That's it? But man, here you go. They're showing up for this show. 19. That's a big wellness class.
I mean, if we go by the Pittsburgh Pro as like a gauge, because I had Jay Mannion on the hype show and everything, and I had him on a Global talking about it as well. And like that first year in Pittsburgh, I think that first year that they had the wellness at the Pittsburgh as a category, it had higher numbers than the bikini and the figure. Wow. Which obviously, you know, I mean, the kind of lineups that show draws, you know, and, you know, look at last year, this year with the bikini with Ashley and India Paulino and Janet Leo coming back and everything, you know, it pulls the names, it pulls the numbers. But this year, the wellness kind of dropped quite a bit. So I didn't know what that meant for the category. But to hear that there's nearly 20, I wonder why it's getting, I mean, I imagine this is more competitors in the wellness for this show than it was last year, although I don't remember them having wellness. But I mean, in a European show, let's say, I wonder why it's pulling the bigger numbers here. I mean, I wonder what the reason is, why it can drop in. Do you think it's because there's so many shows in America of wellness and there's only like a couple in Europe?
Well, here's the thing. Hasn't wellness been around for a long time in Europe?
No.
No?
No, hang on. What am I talking about? Oh, yeah. Well, of course, I judged it.
Yeah, I mean, was it called something else? Was it always called?
No, I judged it. I judged it twice for the MPC in 2018. I was a head judge.
Okay.
That was June and August 2018. Yeah. And then they introduced it as a pro category 2021 last year.
Yeah.
But because Angela Borges, she's had like 65 wins, but that was in South America. It's been around. I've got 2006 in my head.
Yeah, I know it's been around in places like Brazil and Colombia for much, much longer.
Yeah.
2006 sounds right to me, because I remember seeing it. I'm like, what is this? Yep. And I never thought it would come to the US, the NPC IPB mainstream shows. I thought it was just kind of like a South American thing because they had those bodies. But yeah, we're seeing it. Yeah, I'm surprised some of these US shows haven't had bigger lineups, but this is encouraging. This is a very, very good class. So yeah, now go ahead.
So I'd be happy to see maybe a few more stars emerging, because it's kind of like it's all Yarishna, Borges, Sunny. There's like 4 or 5, but I'd like to see, especially from Europe, I'd like to see maybe 1 or 2 future superstars coming from this part of the world. Isa Perennes. You know, there's a few, but I feel like I'd like to see a couple more big names coming through, you know, like the Chris Bumsteads and the Classic, and a few more big names to kind of filter through to the Americans, especially with Olympia, because it seems to be a lot of them, even though there's more shows and lower numbers, there seems to be the big names all seem to be from that part of the world. So it'd be nice to see someone really exceptional, like a Franciel Matos, come from somewhere like Europe. I think that'd be really, really cool. But sorry, just completely talking about wellness.
Yeah.
Like classics, we had that started in the UK at the British finals back in 2006.
Wow.
Sorry, just a random fact there.
Well, it was called Classic Bodybuilding, right?
Yeah. So I wish I'd done it, actually. I wish I'd done it then.
I kind of like that name better than Classic Physique, but whatever. So good news, everybody. Giles is not going to be in Portugal, but Lauren Lauder, his better half, will be there. And we're we're really hoping she's going to grab some good interviews and things like that, a wrap up. She's going to be right there at the show. What is her response? What's she actually there for?
Oh, well, she's going with the wellness team, the Robert Phil Wellness Creator is part of it because she manages some of the athletes. She handles the contracts, and because he just likes to coach, and she does all the admin stuff, which he gives he looks after on that side of things.
Yeah.
So he said, I want you out there, and I'll pay for your whole trip and everything. So that's going to happen.
Nice.
So I said to her, look, so I've agreed that I'll watch the live stream from here, and I'll do like a prejudging live YouTube live wrap up for MD.
Thank you.
And then Lauren's going to do a finals wrap up with Robert. And also I said to her, I said, look, whoever wins, get the winner interview.
Yes.
So I've already spoke to Presti. I've already spoke to Vlad. So I said to her, I said, look, whoever it is, just, I know them. Do you know what I mean? I mean, there's some, if Clancy is there and his English isn't so good, does he speak good English?
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Maro messaged me today, and he said, look, he says, give your wife my number, and he says, anyone she needs to speak to, just let me know. So, I've already tried to guilt trip her. I said, what if while you're away, I fall down some stairs and hurt myself and I can't get up. And she says, well, for first thing, Giles, because our house doesn't have any stairs. So yeah, I said, no, yesterday she was like, I don't want to go, I feel bad. And I said, no, I'll be fine. So
she's going to leave you a big bowl of food and a big bowl of water, right?
Yeah. And she wanted the neighbor to come in and check on me. And I'm like, no, I'm not a bloody cat. I said, I'm not like, I don't need, my litter tray changing. So
that's a keeper, man. That's true concern. So thank you, Lauren Lauder, for being on site and giving us some coverage. We definitely appreciate that. It's always best if you have someone at the show, always.
Yeah.
Watching it on stream, it's okay, but it's not the same. It's not the same.
I mean, I couldn't have gone because I'm feeling good. I'm feeling okay, but it's like the main thing for me at the moment is I need at least 10 hours of sleep. Like that's a lot more sleep than I would normally get. And I found like the other day, I didn't quite get 10 hours and I got really exhausted. It was like really shocked. So then the next day I went back to 10 hours sleep and I felt okay. And I feel like my body needs that to recover. So if I'm at an event and I can't be like halfway through flagging and, and I want to be there and do it properly. So
I know from being at events with you, you don't sleep that much.
Yeah. And I'm up on my phone on the forums and I literally when I'm in my room, until my head, like, just, and I just drop the phone. That's what Olympia and the Arnold, that's what it's like every single night. I mean, some nights I'm doing that to like 3 a.m. I'm up at 6, 7, because my body clock's messed up doing cardio, to try and, keep my blood sugar down and everything. But so it wasn't really an option for me to go as well. I mean, I just thought, I said, Lauren, you go, have fun, do what you need to do. And I said, and get some nice content for MD. And I said, that's appreciated by everyone. And I said, enjoy yourself. I says, because it's been a pretty intense couple of months, so.
Yeah, guys, you didn't know Giles had a heart attack. He had a triple bypass. You guys didn't know? I'm sure somebody watching has no idea. What the hell is Giles talking about? What do you have, COVID or something? Anyway, I said the C word. I'm sorry. So that's it, guys. This weekend, Giles will be doing a wrap up. Lauren's going to be doing some content right here on this YouTube channel. We appreciate it very much because having that eyesight and especially Giles's insights, I love hearing your commentary on shows, Giles. I really do. Because I wish I had some popcorn at times, but that's it, guys. So please subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. You can leave your comments on how we screwed up people's names or didn't know where they placed. We welcome all comments. We really do. All your feedback, we read it and we take it to heart. So Giles, thank you so much for taking the time to do this preview of the Big Man Weekend Portugal Pro. That's the full title. It's a long one. Happening this Saturday in Lisbon, right?
Lisbon, yeah. Well, the show's in Estoril.
Okay, close. Lisbon, close enough. Just
like Portugal's not that big. I mean, it's like he drove us from one area to the other area. It took like half an hour or something. But
I've seen it. You got Spain and there's a little sliver on the left, and that's Portugal.
It is beautiful, man. I mean, Brandon loved it. He absolutely loved it. Yeah. And you know what happened? Sorry, a bit of a random story. We were walking through one of the little towns and stuff, and the food areas, and one of the waiters come up to Brandon. He's like, "Well, you're Brandon Curry." So it was. Yeah, it was cool. So obviously bodybuilding's alive and well in Portugal, but and they also put us up in a really nice hotel, which I appreciate.
Awesome.
So
All right. Well, that's it. That's it, guys. So check us out this Saturday right here on this YouTube channel, Muscular Development, for coverage of the Portugal Pro, Mr. Big Evolution Weekend. I can't even. So I'm just going to call it the Portugal Pro as I close it out. So thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you right here next time.